Okay, so the Occasions catalog just started this month, and there are so many gorgeous things in here. But the Cake Soiree suite is so amazing. There's 4 pages of it in the catalog. Okay, so there's these gorgeous pictures of all sorts of amazing things that you can put together using these products right here. And then on the next page, you can see the actual products themselves. So there's the big, huge stamp set. There is framelits that coordinate right here. There are a decorative mask with 2 types of embossing powder, both the silver and the shimmery white. There is shreddy stuff for packages. There's a silver gable boxes, a specialty embellishment kit with ribbon and all kinds of gorgeous die-cut shapes and vellum pieces. There's 2 types of ribbon, and there's some stunning DSP, which we're going to use, designer series paper, and there's even an embossing folder. So many amazing things. So let me show you what we're going to use on this card. First of all, if you need to purchase or would like to purchase any of these items, please click on the link in the description of this video because it will have links to my online store. And of course, when you shop with the Creativity Cave, you become a VIP rewards member, and I've got all kinds of perks for you. All right, so I'm going to start by showing you a couple of different things that we're going to do. First of all, I have my pieces all cut, and I have I have cut a piece of Whisper White. Now, all of the dimensions and specific items that I used are also linked on my blog post, and then there's additional photos for you as well, so check that out. Again, that link is right in this description of this video. We're going to use Calypso Coral ink, and I'm going to take and stamp the solid cake up. Then I'm going to stamp off a layer of that on a scrap of my cardstock, and then I'll just stamp that. Okay, so sorry, I'm going to stamp off the first layer of ink from my cake stamp, and then I'm going to stamp it right onto my piece of Whisper White. I've moved it over here because it's a little easier to see where I'm stamping when my background is not white against white. That is just a little bit of knowledge I've picked up. Now, I have to share something funny with you. So when I was making this card, I was playing around with different options, and I actually had die cut one of these roses with some Dazzling Diamonds glimmer paper. In fact, here is one of them. And I die cut a second one, and I was sponging with my sponge dauber on this glimmer paper. And of course, what happened was it picked up a little bit of glitter, and then when I inked it in my ink pad, it got in my ink pad. So you can see I have a couple flecks of glitter on my ink pad. And you can also see they've stuck to my stamp. So what happened with that is now you can see the little dots on the cake, which I do not like. So we're going to clean my stamp off. I have my stamp cleaner just off screen here. 1 second. And then, sorry, it was kind of wet. Okay, then we're going to try this one more time, hopefully without all the excess glitter. And I think we're good. So I hate when that happens, but here we are able to solve that quickly. Okay, so there it is. Oh, and much better. You can see there's not all those little spots on there. So this looks much better. Okay, next what I'm going to do is take this, pardon. Uh-oh. I'm going to take the decorative masks. It comes in a 2-pack. There is this large mask, which is really beautiful, and then this other mask that has several parts and pieces to it. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces to the cake that you can use, as well as a gorgeous rose and then some candles with either flames or hearts at the top. So what I'm going to do is actually sponge a little color on here to kind of make my cake look a little bit fancy. I'm also going to add just a little bit of this new silver, embossing paste. So first, I'm going to do my sponge dauber with some Calypso ink. So I'm just going to sponge that, and I kind of, rather than tap, I'm sort of smearing the ink. And all that this is doing is giving me just a little highlight of color on my cake. Okay, and then I'm going to follow that up with some embossing paste, but I need to clean my mask off first. So I have just a wet wipe, and I'm just going to clean off my mask so that I don't have silver all over it. And sometimes I even kind of wipe it on here just to make sure it's clean, and it is. So that's good. Then I'm going to take and put this back on, and I'm going to position my stencil so that I see, do you see through here? There's just a little, maybe an eighth or just a touch more or less of an inch. And then the rest will be silver embossing paste. Okay, so it kind of gives my cake a fancy, fancy look. All right, so I've got one of my palette knives. And if you want, you can also tack your paper and your stencil down to hold it in place. That is certainly an option. I'm going to just free hand this because I'm kind of lazy like that. Now I've left my foil on here. I've never gotten rid of it all the way, and I kind of recommend that. Now you can see this is it's a different consistency than the regular embossing paste, but it's pretty cool. It's thick. And then of course I just moved my stencil, my decorative mask. Sorry, gotta use the proper terminology. Okay, so now I'm just gonna spread this on here. And I have to tell you, I prepped one before I shot the video so that I would have it all ready. And when I picked it up, I moved the mask, so I was really mad at myself. So let's see if we can do it this time without that. Oh, perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to set that aside and let it dry. That is a harder task than you might think, because so far since I've made this car, I've like mucked up every one of them. Now what I'm going to do next is take this embossing paste and scrape off the excess. Okay, and put it back in here. Now this silver paste, unlike the regular embossing paste, takes substantially longer to dry, like a half an hour or maybe even a little longer, depending on how thick you get it. And I didn't think I had it particularly thick, but it definitely took a lot longer to clean up. So of course you want to either dump this into a bucket, or in my case, I'm just going to wipe this clean with my wet wipe right away so that it does not dry on my stencil. If it does dry in your stencil, you definitely want to soak it in water and then see what you can do to scrub it clean. And having said that, you want to do this on clean paper, not on paper that has embossing paste on it. So we're just going to flip this around and make sure everything is in fact clean. Okay. So that is just putting a little embossing paste on our cake. Okay, now like I said, I did do this ahead of time, and you can see the one I did kind of got messed up. I picked up the stencil and then kind of jabbed it, so I got a goober in the center. So then I put the stencil back down carefully, and then it kind of smeared a little on my cake. So long story short, this is the one I'm going to use, but the one I did for you actually turned out much better. Okay, so back to my project. Now, what I did is I die cut this gorgeous rose, and we're going to adhere that to our panel. I'm going to use my silicone mat and some liquid glue to do the adhesion, because I find that works really well. You don't need much glue, just a little bit. And then I'm just going to tack that down. I want to hold my die cut shape in place so it doesn't move around on me. And then I can just position this on top of my cake however I would like it. And there we go. I think that looks really pretty. Now in my original sample, I had planned to stamp best wishes, because there's a gorgeous little best wishes in the stamp set. But I had positioned the cake, I stamped it a little off so that there wasn't enough room, and I didn't think it would look good up top, so we're going to try it down low. So let's see how this turns out. Hopefully this was actually what I kind of originally intended. Ooh, not even crooked. So there we go. All right, now I have also taken and cut a layer of cardstock to fit on here to layer just like that, but I didn't want to just waste this paper covering it all up. So I ran it through my Big Shot with one of the dies from the stamp set, and I'm actually going to use that on a project that'll be featured on my blog later this week, so make sure you come back and check it out because it's kind of awesome. Okay, now I'm going to adhere those 2 layers together. Since they're covered up, it's no big deal. You don't notice what I cut out, so that's kind of cool, and it's just a great way to conserve a little bit of your paper because that silver foil is a little bit more expensive than just regular cardstock. All right, so I've layered these up. Okay, next I'm going to put together my card, which is really simple. I've just got a white card base that I'll fold, and then I have cut from that gorgeous printed paper a piece of DSP, and then I'm also going to layer this on some silver foil. I did not take the time to die cut something, but I so totally could. All right, next I'll adhere these 2 layers together, and it is so hard sometimes to adhere such pretty paper, but when you see the other side with the silver foiling on it, it makes it a little easier. I love the silver foil kind of speckly background on this piece, and it's just so perfect for a wedding card. This would be great for an anniversary as well. Okay, so I've got my 2 layers together, and then I will just center those on my white card base like so. Now to finish this up, all that I'm going to do is a couple more things. One, I want to pop up my layer because of course everything is better popped up. I'll add a little ribbon bow, and then we'll stamp just a touch in the center. We'll keep it simple, but it's always fun to add a little something to the inside of your cards. All right, I've positioned that like so. So pretty. And then last, I've got some of our new organza ribbon. This is a 1/4 inch organza, which is a really nice size. And I'm just going to tie a little bow and then adhere it to my card. I don't want it to be too big, just a nice size to kind of dress up my card because this is a special card. So it just needed one more touch, I thought. Okay, there we go. And last but not least, I'm going to take one of the coordinating images from our stamp set. And let me find my scrap paper again. I'm just going to stamp off the flower image twice so it's nice and light. We'll add it right in the center and then stamp Celebrate on top. Now the Celebrate has like a pick in it so that you could use it, you know, like a cake pick or a cupcake pick. So what I'm going to do is mask off that. So I'm just going to take a little piece of my Post-it note, stick it down on here, and then I'm going to ink this up. Important piece, remove the Post-it. Okay, and that way I'm left with just Celebrate. And I'm just going to stamp that right over the top of my flower on the inside. Isn't that fun? So I hope you've loved this card. Again, if you need to purchase any of these items, please check out my online store. I also have a fabulous online class using this suite of products. It is amazing. The cards are so beautiful. You're not even going to believe you could make them yourself, and you can. They're really easy. So thank you guys so much for joining me. Have a great day and come back and see me again soon. Bye.